Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makwidiri. The time is 13 minutes past 8. And to kickstart the show, we'll be talking to the African Transformation Movement. They have submitted a series of rather sweeping constitutional amendment proposals to the Parliament of South Africa. The party, led in the National Assembly by Woes wants to rename South Africa to the Republic of Azania, to bring back the death penalty, and to ban dual citizenship and implement radical land and economic reforms, dating restitution as far back to 1652. And also on the agenda is nationalizing the country's natural resources and decolonizing education, something that we thought would be coming for so many years because of just the conversations that they've had, particularly after the Fees Must Fall protests of 2013. But we asked the question this morning, are these proposals constitutional? Are they realistic? Or, as with a lot of proposals in this country, simply symbolic? And we'll be hearing it from the source. Zama, Ntshona, spokesperson of the African Transformation Movement, joins us now on the phone. Good morning, Zama. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Salam Media.
Thank you so much. Good morning to you and the listeners.
There we go. I think let's start with just the decision to propose some of these amendments to the Constitution. Why is the ATM pushing for these amendments, pushing for the renaming of the country to the Republic of Azania? What's the significance, most importantly, of that name, particularly to your movement?
Thank you so much. Well, for us as the African Transformation Movement, looking at South Africa after 31 years, you remember that we're at a time now that it is an opportunity because we have a constitutional review. It is time for us to go back to the founding principles of the country, and we ask ourselves, are these founding principles and the founding constitution of the country still relevant to the upward trajectory of the country? Have they assisted the majority marginalized individuals who continue to be marginalized today as they were marginalized the past 300-400 years? So for us as the African Transformation Movement, the issue comes from that. When we look at the issue of, for instance, we address a number of issues. Some of them is the issue of ownership of South Africa. It can be a question of South Africa belongs to all who live in it. When we have over 5 million foreign nationals who live in our country, are they included in that? And we have found so many judgments in the Constitutional Court that do not speak to the prioritization of South Africans. This is why we want this issue. Yes, the issue of the name change is also of the issue. The supremacy of the Constitution moving towards Parliament being the ultimate interpreter of the Constitution's rights of citizens, especially when it comes to issues of employment being enshrined as a necessary right that is that must be a program of employment that must be undertaken by the government and not depend on the private sector. We speak on the issue of economic and social rights, empowerment of traditional leaders, and national security. But coming to your question strictly on the issue of the name, we are the only African country after colonization or after liberation that is not actually given its country its rightful name. We believe as the African Transformation Movement that in the way that the other African countries have given names to their states, it's important that we do that. We must not just be a direction, a country in the southern tip of Africa. We do not want to be named like that. We want something more than that, and we believe that Azania is actually the right name for that.
I think one of the most I think proposals that would strike the attention of a lot of South Africans is the proposal to return of the death penalty. I think this is one that's likely to stir serious legal and ethical debate. What's your party's justification for this proposal, especially considering South Africa's constitutional protections around the basic right to life?
Thank you so much. It's very interesting that everybody, when they say a right to life, and they forget that this individual has just killed 18 people, limited their rights to life, and after doing so with a knife dripping of blood, he claims that he has a right to life. What about the right to life of the 18 individuals he just killed? He just killed. It can be that individuals who have no respect for life have the protection of the country's constitution. And we're very clear, we do not want the return of that death penalty because we are not talking about political killings here. So that death penalty, which was associated to a regime that was declared a crime against humanity, we do not want it. We want to introduce a justice-based death penalty for second-time offenders of the same crime. Now, if you had killed somebody, we say go for correction. But if you come back and kill another individual, we say even if you are the most unlucky individual in the world, you can't be accused twice of death. The killer of Uyinene Mokgwetyana was a second-time offender. And we say in a state where the ATM rules, that individual already would have actually been given the death penalty following the giving people the right opportunity, representation in court, their day in court. For instance, as I close this issue, there are 6 individuals who were killed Emampondweni, Mthatha, between Mthatha and Ngobo, who were extortionists. The police executed them. There are many others in KZN who were executed. And we're not against people, the police retaliating, but those people did not get their day in court. What if there was an individual who was just a passenger in that car, and because that individual was not identified as a passenger, that individual would have been killed? Now, when you introduce a justice-based death penalty, you allow a panel of experts to look into the matter so as to, one, determine are the individuals alleged to be criminals really criminals? 2, are they all deserving of the death penalty? We can't only have a situation where the police just decide without a court of law that they are going to administer the death penalty, because it is being administered already. But now we are saying it must be taken to a court of law, a sober court of law, so that it is the court of law and specifically for second-time offenders of heinous and barbaric crimes.
Mm, mm. How do you respond to those that might say, because I want us to stick on the death penalty one because it's a sore point for a lot of South Africans. It's a bone of contention because of our crime stats and just how crime has essentially got out of hand in the country. Everyone is affected by it, and discussions around the death penalty will always have a polarizing effect. How do you respond to those that say the death penalty and re-implementing it again is essentially just putting a band-aid on a bullet wound, because number one, the death penalty has not been proven to be a deterrent if you look at stats from various other countries. Number two, the social ills of the country should be where you start. Some of the social economic issues that the country faces, like unemployment, like majority of our young people not being educated, not having the right skills, you should start focusing there instead of the death penalty. Otherwise, looking at our criminal justice system and just how poor it has been in recent years, you'll have particularly young black people who could potentially be killed without going through the right processes, and that's another place where you need to fix our NPA and the criminal justice system, which is also so weak that you don't see it fully implementing the death penalty rightfully.
Thank you so much. Let me start with the last issue, the issue of the correction of the justice system so that it is responsive to the plight of South Africans. We totally agree. This cannot be an isolated introduction of a justice-based death penalty. You have to also deal with the issues of adequate supply when it comes to the policy of this country. From resources to specialization, we totally agree that must be the issue in actually bringing this about. We are not introducing this issue for the issue of a deterrent. We want it for retribution, for individuals to pay against the sins they have committed against society. Yes, we have seen statistics that in other countries it looks like a deterrent, in other countries it looks like it is not. But we are saying that is not the reason we're calling for it. We're calling for it because we want retribution for sins committed against society. We are sitting here today. By the end of today, there will be 80 body bags. 80 people are murdered every day in South Africa. And just in 2023, when Israel was bombarding Gaza, Israel killed about 33,000 Palestinians. In South Africa, we had 27,500 murders, and we are not at war. How is it that we are comparing with countries that are at war, and yet we are not at war? It can't be right. And the issue of the situation analysis, the dynamics within the country, we need to get to this issue. There are over 30 million people in this country who are living in poverty. Are you going to say then it is justified for all 30 million people to start killing people because those who are killing were saying it is because they do not have the necessary education, they are unemployed? Are we legalizing? Are we sanctioning? Are we accepting bad behavior because we are saying that this country is a country that does not actually grow its young people in the right way? No, it can't be. This is why we're saying repeat offenders of the same crime must actually be subjected to a justice-based death penalty. And lastly, we agree on a multi-pronged approach. You can't only be administering the death penalty without fixing the service delivery needs. But that does not exonerate those who feel that because I don't have a job, therefore I must kill. It can be. It can be normalized. It can be encouraged. We must actually speak to our people, owning up to the things that they have committed against society. So, and also I'd like to repeat, this is not for political reasons. No one will be subjected to a gag because of political ideals as it was in the past. This is basic. This is an issue of individuals. The court would have to prove the intent. Individuals who intentionally take a life of another cannot come out and claim that they have a right to life. It is premised from that, and they must be repeat offenders. Now, repeat offenders, it means the correction system has not worked. Now, this individual is beyond correction. This is why we are now saying it is time that we accept that they do not want to live with society because the concept of peace and harmony does not reside within their consciousness. And therefore, the state must then come in and implement a justice-based death penalty following due process.
Mm-hmm. I want to move on now to another issue that you guys have put forward. You've also called for a ban on dual citizenship. What concerns does the ATM have about South Africans holding foreign citizenship, and who do you believe this impacts the most?
The fallout between Trump and Elon Musk is one typical example. After months of being told that there was white genocide in South Africa, and Trump was actually believing Elon Musk and actually saying that, in fact, made us believe that he believed Elon Musk. After using the United States of America to disadvantage South Africa, which is a citizen, a bona fide South African, Elon Musk, using Solidarity, using AfriForum, using the DA and others, they they painted South Africa as what it is not. And that when they fought, Trump confirms to the world that there is no white genocide in South Africa. Individuals who have interests that are separated across two countries and more are dangerous for South Africa. Elon Musk is one typical example of that. You have another individual in South Africa by the name of Phil Craig, who wants Cape exit, the independence of the Cape. After years of trying to unify South Africa, he comes and he claims that he actually has citizenship. He is mobilizing against the state for us to actually separate. This is why we feel it is dangerous to allow for dual citizenship. In this case, we believe this is true. No one man can serve two masters.
Hmm. All right, I think that's definitely understandable, especially looking at the state of affairs and those 49 or 59 people that have left the country as refugees, but still want to maintain South African citizenship. I want to focus on the support. These are some bold proposals that you guys have made. How are other political parties responding to this? Has there been support, or the ATM is prepared to stand alone on this?
We have been advocating for the past 7 years. We're willing to stand alone, but PA has come and it says the death penalty must be introduced in South Africa. The IFP has also agreed that the death penalty must be introduced in South Africa. The number of parties like the MK, they also believe that we must rename the country to Azania, and also South Africa must belong to the citizens of South Africa and not all who live in it, because we have seen that this all who live in it is misused by individuals, opportunistic individuals who are coming to this country not for good intentions. So a number of political parties, but we are at early stages. This is a constitutional review submission. Once all submissions are actually tallied together, then the conversations are going to start. But we believe already that South Africans will see the reasoning behind the submissions of the ATM on the matter.
All right, I think we're going to leave on that note. Thank you so much, Zama, for joining us. Really appreciate you giving us your time. And yeah, we'll be watching closely how these proposals are received in Parliament, and if indeed we'll start seeing some changes on some of them.
Thank you so much to you and the listener.
That was Ntshona, spokesperson of the African Transformation Movement, laying out their party's rather sweeping constitutional proposals. Bold, controversial, and certainly bound to ignite national debate, whether they gain traction in Parliament or not. Well, they've already struck a political nerve. What do you think? Do you think the country's name should be changed? We should not be a direction at the southern tip of Africa. Azania is the proposed name. I think we can dig a bit deeper to the meaning of that name and where it comes from. The second one being the death penalty. Do you think the answer to South Africa's political woes, to South Africa's crime challenges that we've been facing for such a long time? Crime has been spiraling out of control and it doesn't seem to be getting better. Do you think the answer to that is the death penalty? And what about the generation, people that grew up during the apartheid era? And understand a bit better how the death penalty was used and how it was disproportionately targeted to black and colored South Africans, people of color in this country. Essentially, when you hear of the death penalty and parties like the ATM proposing to bring it back, what goes through your mind? Do you see it as a good idea? Do you feel it'll be a deterrent to crime? It has not been proven to be in other parts of the world. And looking at our criminal justice system, there's a lot of holes, there's a lot of failures. The NPA, the cases that they have failed, in making sure that they see the end cause of it and justice prevails, are endless. And our police, they're corrupt. They themselves are perpetrators of some of the most horrendous crimes in this country. So now you have the factor of the death penalty. Do you think this can work? In other countries, it has been even been used as a political kind of strategy of some sort, where detractors of a government, of a regime, are put to the gallows. What are your thoughts on these proposals by the ATM? You can give us a call on 01168000355, or you can send us a message or a voice note on WhatsApp, 06176660355. And you can also comment on our various social media pages. We have one here from Abdul Chabalal, who says, repairing our country's social ills. Well, this is a comment from YouTube. Abdul Chabalala saying, repairing our country's social ills will do far more to address the high crime and is immeasurably more effective than the electric chair. He further says revocation of citizenship should be reserved for individuals who commit treason against us, not a blanket ban of dual citizenship. Abdul Chabala, thank you so much for interacting with us. You can also have your say on our various social media pages. You can send us a WhatsApp on 0617660355. Should the death penalty be brought back? Should the revocation of dual citizenship be implemented? Looking at Donald Trump and Elon Musk and those that pack their bags and say South Africa is a horrible place and I want to come back, but still they want to keep their green barcoded ID book. I'm not sure how many people still have those because there's a smart card now. But anyway, you can engage with us on those. But most importantly, the death penalty. Is it the answer? If we were to vote tomorrow and there's a referendum of some sort and South Africans are being asked, do you guys want the death penalty to come back? Would you vote for it? And why? Looking forward to hearing your comments. We're going to take a quick break and news and views continues after this.